This meeting is being recorded. Simon, get us in here. It's Holden, Uncle T, and JT Hayes. Poor G-Rizen. He has the plague or something. He's just not feeling good. Does anybody have an update on poor G-Rizen? Because it's got to take a lot for him not to show up to a show, guys, especially what is probably our last one of the year.
Yeah, he's we were talking with him before, and he's got one of the new variants, really serious, called the syphilis variant of coronavirus. And he's going to be out. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. He might be back next week. We'll see, because we're not doing this in 2 weeks. But we wish him well. And, you know, he was not feeling well today. Maybe tomorrow will be a little bit better.
Can you confirm or deny any of this, Uncle T?
I can't do it. I gotta just say he did message me. He did send me a couple texts about an hour ago. I was checking in with him. How do I want to say this? He's not feeling well.
Okay.
We'll be nice to G-Rizen. I mean, even though at times, guys, the last 2 years on this very show, Uncle T has taken the heat on it on an occasion, right? On an occasion, albeit probably lighthearted. But no, I'm not going to do it. G-Rizen, I hope you're feeling better. And JT and Holden and I are going to cover it this week, and we're going to break down some games and have some fun.
Yeah, see you next year, G-Rizen.
Just judging by the reaction, it doesn't seem like you guys are familiar with the new variant. I mean, it seems like I surprised you with my knowledge of it and the fact that it was spreading, at least throughout Michigan.
I wasn't listening.
What's that?
I wasn't listening.
Of this new strain, JT.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, it's something.
It's a pocket of hookers in South Detroit.
He was in Miami a few weeks ago, so you don't know what happened down there. I mean, that's a place where you could get sick. But
I will say this. Let me go ahead and add on one thing. So I will say this. I said on one of his comments, all I said was maybe drink a couple extra Modelo's, right? And he said even that doesn't sound good right now. So I knew once he said that, he was probably in pretty bad shape, so I kind of left it go with that.
Grave illness if the Modelo's aren't flowing by midday.
Is it the COVID or is it just something else? Because other shit's going around. Like everybody's like, I'm sick. It doesn't mean you got COVID, right? He's just sick. I don't know if he's got COVID. Who the hell cares? Just don't go down.
I went. Speaking of, you guys giving me a hard time on this very day last year. Do you guys remember what happened? On this very day. Almost at this very moment, 365 days ago, Uncle T had the elbow surgery. So I went back for my one year checkup today. Doc said that the actual surgery went well. Problem is I've got tendonitis now around where they fixed my ligaments. So now I've got to get something called a PRP injection. Have you guys heard that?
Oh yeah.
Platelet rich.
I've got to have that done Monday. So
platelet rich. Something therapy?
Procedure.
I think, isn't it? Platelet rich procedure. Well, that's kind of fancy stuff. Tiger Woods had that. I hope you got insurance. That shit's expensive.
I'm going to have to pick some winners this week from what it looked like. It didn't look like it was cheap. I'm not going to. And then they said you're going to need 2, maybe 3 injections. You do them about a month apart after you do the first one. So I don't know how this is going to go, but the good news was the surgery, area that they repaired looks wonderful. So.
Here's a question for both of you guys. Uncle T, I'll start with you on this. What's worth, going to the dentist or getting a shot?
I mean, I don't have a problem really with either. I'm not a fan of the dentist, but I mean, it doesn't bother me. I mean, the only time the dentist is really bad is those root canals ain't exactly great. But other than that, routine dentist, cleaning, and whatever, I don't have a problem with it.
JT,
I don't go to Big T's dentist though. They're dangerous, Big T's dentists. So.
I heard that guy's like building a new building off of what Tony has paid him.
I don't know if he's still in litigation or if it's been finalized or what, but.
My God. JT, like for me, the dentist, my mom never had me brush my teeth when I was young. So I had a root canal at like 6. Teeth were pulled. And I take care of my teeth now. But to this day, I fucking hate the dentist. And I don't like getting shots either. But for me, just the smell of the dentist's office is enough to make me angry. Irate is what I'd go as far as to say. How about you, JT? You seem like a burly man, a tough guy. Do either one of these little simple things scare you or bother you?
Burly, man, that's not very nice.
Huh?
Burly man? That's not very nice.
Burly. He's a strong man. He's burly.
That sounded like a put down.
It wasn't.
I didn't take offense this time. This is one that didn't offend me. I'm not easily offended anyway.
Me too.
So I'm going to say the dentist, and the reason why is because I'm very hard to numb. And more than once it's happened, especially since I've moved. You go to a new dentist and I'm like, hey, it takes a while for me to get numb. I don't, for whatever reason. Oh, yeah, no problem. And then sure enough, more than once they've started with the drilling or activity before I'm numb. And that never feels good. So, yeah.
As long as we're talking about teeth. So I was in my early 30s when I had my wisdom teeth pulled, and I'm more evolved than you because I only had 3 wisdom teeth. Most of you had 4, just like the olden days. So anyways, I go to this guy. I don't know, what is it, a dentist? And I said, all right, here's what I need. He goes, let me check your teeth out. Took x-rays. He goes, I can't do the surgery, but my partner can do the surgery next week. Well, this is great. Fine. I'll go in there. Gives me a couple Valiums. I go in. I'm already a little loopy. I meet the doctor and I shake his hand and he's like, I can't talk, or I can't hear. And I was like, excuse me? So he was deaf, right? Which was fine. That doesn't bother me at all. The problem was that they shoot you up. First, I'm high on Valium and whatever the hell stuff they put in you and laughing gas. So this guy goes, all right, if you need me to stop because it hurts too much, just wave your hand. So everything starts wearing off and I'm feeling him just yanking the tooth out of my gums. It's the worst pain in the world. And I'm like, stop! Ah, ah. And somehow, some way, this guy doesn't realize I'm screaming, even though I'm screaming. I'm like, I feel like he could have felt the vibrations or noticed that I was screaming. But the fact that I didn't lift my hand up, and the lady that was working with him was also deaf. So I'm just sitting here screaming bloody murder, and it just didn't stop. So my recommendation is, if you're going to go to a deaf dentist, make sure you know what the rules are and stay with the rules, because that was one of the most miserable procedures I've ever had in my life, guys. Very bad. Very bad.
It's entirely foreseeable. You didn't follow the fucking directions.
Well, I mean, again, when you're wasted and in pain, how am I supposed to say this? Just, hey, this, I'm not going to give you this. I'm screaming because it hurt.
Is this the only time that you've been harmed because you failed to follow directions?
Yes.
I don't believe that.
What do you mean?
I
can't name another time. I can't put a puzzle together.
I'm sure there were others.
I can't put a puzzle together. I can't put a bite together because I can't follow instructions. But as far as being harmed, yes, that was the only time. Yeah.
All right.
We'll
take you at your word.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We're going to get into the slate. Hey, Uncle T, I know you're just looking into the slate now. We're sitting here on Thursday. I mean, I haven't really dug into it too much except for the show. We got 2. I actually deposited more money into my DraftKings account just because I wasn't under the impression that we were going to have so many different options. So we got a 2-game slate, a 3-game slate, a 6-game slate, and I could play Showdown in every single one of them. Like, this is a DFS bonanza this week. What do you see yourself playing this week? All those slates? Because I am.
Yeah, I'm probably going to dig into all of them, to be honest with you. I'll probably play the 2. We'll play the the full weekend, and we'll definitely have to dive into some Showdown stuff for sure. I'm not sure if we're going to do a Showdown show on Saturday or Sunday. What time's the late game on Sunday? I don't know if our crew's going to do. Usually me and Mangone and Rubio's over in London, right? So I don't know if he's back yet. I think he's over there proposing or something to his lady. So actually, I hope she ain't listening because he might not have proposed yet. But
he said he wasn't, but he is, isn't he?
Well, I think he might be. Yeah, I think he's going to ask the question. But
so dumb.
But yeah, I'm going to be playing all of the slates for sure. We've got, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've got MMA back Saturday as well after 3 weeks off. We've got the NBA obviously in full swing, and then a new golf tournament, the Sony Open, started today. So there's a ton of action the next few days. I'm actually off on the holiday Monday, so this is going to be perfect for Uncle T. We're going to sit here and we're going to hopefully make some money this weekend.
What's coming up on Monday? What do we got?
It's a holiday, right?
All right.
Yeah. Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, even better. We got a holiday on Monday. We'll be working. It doesn't. No, Monday.
Yeah, we'll be working.
For the most part, yeah. My Mondays are basically my day off, but no, well, I'll probably start doing some stuff anyways. And I'm excited. Then we'll know the next round of the playoffs. Okay, and just to add to this, I have told Rubio not to do this. Is a horrible mistake. The kid's 22 years old. He doesn't know any better. Like locking it up right now and this, when you guys were kids back in the 50s, it was normal. Get married in your 20s and grow old with the person. Date your high school sweetheart.
I'm gonna let JT get in here on his thought, because JT, I value JT's opinion when it comes to whatever you want to call it, the workbench and the relationships. He's a very, very astute, very veteran type of a guy when it comes to marriage and relationships. So, but Holden, I'm going to take the opposite approach. I think Rubio should lock it up. I think he should. I think he's got a nice lady, nice girlfriend, and hey, she cares about Rubio. You know what I mean? So hey, I'm on the other side. I got married at 23. We had our first kid when I was 26. Hey, 22, 23 isn't bad. I think Rubio should get it done.
JT Hayes, he was throwing it to you.
Yeah,
horrible.
Young love is adorable. Hopefully it works out. That's not the path I took. I got married when I was 43, 42, 43, something like that, which was a good age to get married because you've had a little bit of fun. You've moved around and seen some things and decided, okay, now I'm pretty confident this is the person that I really like to spend time with. And
JT, when you mean move around, JT, when you say move around, does that move around like geographically move around the country, or move around from lady to lady? I just wanted to clarify before you go on.
Yeah, it's open to interpretation. Whatever the listener wants to take that to mean, then it can mean. I think that we see this a lot. We see kids get married very young and they have kids of their own. They're too young to do that. It's a different world today than when Uncle T got married at 23. Uncle T and I are around the same age, right? And, I listen, I wish them all the best if that's what he's doing. If not, then there's still time to talk him out of it.
Yeah, it's a horrible move by him. Like, that's why I was joking about the 1950s Uncle T. Back in the day, you could get away with it. Now it's just like he lost his virginity to this girl. He thinks he's in love.
Now, he's not. You didn't have to bring that into it.
Well, I mean, it's the facts, though. And, he just thinks this is the end-all, be-all, and it's an awful mistake. 23 years old, 22 years old, just too much life to live. But that's okay. You live and you learn. JT, I waited a long time, too. It obviously didn't work out for me very well.
Hey, maybe he gets a prenup. Get a prenup.
A prenup? He's going to have to get a prenup from her. She's got to be the breadwinner.
I mean, you don't know that. You don't know that.
I don't.
Rubio's got a lot of side deals going on.
Well, he works at Verizon. What else does he do?
Yeah,
I feel like that's.
I'm not gonna. Winners, Holden. He picks.
Yeah, he does.
Winners,
yeah,
and he does well. I would say this. You said something there that I might disagree with. You said you got a long life to live. I personally think this country might be wiped off the face of the earth in the next 5 years. So, I mean,
yeah, but we'll be alive. We'll just be having to learn Chinese and going to work camps
and in camps. But it'll be different. So,
yeah, you're a little bullish on the decline of the American empire. You're a little faster than me. I think we got a good 20 years to where we're not going to be completely having to talk another foreign language. You think it's going to happen very rapidly?
I'd like to be wrong about this. I
think you are. I think you're a little too aggressive.
Scared.
Yeah, you're definitely on the right path. You're just a little bit too aggressive. So let's not talk about the demise of what was once a great country, Uncle T. Let's try and talk some football then. And before we get into the slate, I want to get some of your guys' thoughts on what's happening here with these coaching hires and firings. I mean, the Giants hired Joe Judge. The guy had a horrible season, horrible game plans, horrible press conferences. It takes them a couple of days to figure out they wanted to fire him. Today, Culley gets fired. David Culley from the Texans, who I thought did a great job. Here's a team that if we're lucky to win 1 or 2 games, they won, 4 games this year? At least 4 games. He developed David Mills into a pretty competent rookie quarterback. Like, I like him more than Zach Wilson. I've been saying this for a long time now. I like him. I didn't think he deserved it. I get what's happening here. Patriots, love the Patriots. That's fine. There's a million of these openings. Uncle T, anything from this coaching search is really standing out to you right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we always see the week after this, the season ends, and then even into the second week, we're into the playoffs, obviously. And then you're seeing all these random things pop up. Obviously, the main one that's getting the attention is obviously the one in Miami with Flores. I think you guys got maybe a better take on that than I do. Just from afar and looking at it, yeah, I mean, they started off either 0-7 or 1-7. They rattled off, 5-6 games in a row, got back at least in the playoff discussion. And then, and then they fired him. So maybe there's something there underlying that we didn't see visually as far as either on the field. Maybe it was something behind the scenes that we weren't seeing. But I would have to think, unless it was something pretty bad, I would think that Minnesota would be, on the phone, talking to him, or, Chicago. Chicago is going to be the interesting one, because this may not happen. But if you guys recall, I know G-Rizen was on the show. All four of us were on the show, maybe back middle way through the season. I brought up a name, and I still think it could get some traction, is Day at Ohio State. And I know if you guys remember, it was, again, maybe about week 8 or 9, I brought it up that it was a possibility that he could go to the pros this year, and he may not. But there is a connection, obviously, coaching Justin Fields at Ohio State. And I wouldn't be totally out of the, totally shocked if they brought him in. And, he's coached at the college or at the pro level before, obviously not as a head coach, but I don't know, just something to think about. I think Day to Chicago is still probably a possibility.
What you got here, JT Hayes?
I'll start with the Joe Judge, because we talked about it last week, and I said then, he hasn't shown any signs of being a competent NFL head coach. But if he can be a competent NFL head coach, he wasn't going to have the opportunity here just because they were going to bring in a new GM. He was going to have another losing season. I think for the Giants, it came down to saving face versus making the right decision, right? Looking like fools for hiring this guy and getting rid of him, and now in 5 years having 3 different head coaches. And I think they made the right choice. They made the right choice, which is they're going to just start fresh, bring in their GM, let him pick the new head coach. The Dolphins situation, very interesting, because there's a lot of respect for Brian Flores as a coach. The stories that are coming out now are that this was basically, he did not think Tua was long-term the best choice to be their quarterback for the franchise. And on that, I side with him. I don't personally think Tua is going to be a great NFL quarterback. But when you start off the season 0-7 he does have some talent. He has talent on defense. They have some talented wide receivers. There were some injuries with those wide receivers. But the way that he used the running backs this season, I mean, you've got Myles Gaskin there, who, when he gets opportunities and snaps, can have big games. And then they signed Duke Johnson off the street. They signed like 6 or 7 guys. So I just thought the personnel usage there was curious. And whatever the reason he got fired, he's going to get another job immediately, especially because Culley gets fired today, which I agree with you, Holden. I think he did a great job with Davis Mills. Maybe he won a few too many games, is what I'm hearing. Is that based on the way that their rebuild is going? But so now Culley's out, and of course the stories today are, oh my God, we got to panic. The only black NFL head coach right now is Mike Tomlin. So Flores is going to get a job immediately. He has earned that based on his record, even though this season was underwhelming. And then I think there's some other candidates who are African American who are probably going to get hired this season. Maybe finally Eric Bieniemy will get in opportunity somewhere. We'll see what happens.
So this is just my thoughts on Flores, because, again, he goes in there much like Culley's situation. They were expecting to get the first pick. It was a team that people were talking about going 0-16 at the time, and he wins 5 games that rookie year. People are like, wow, Flores is pretty good. He owns his boy Belichick. And then 2 winning. The last time the Dolphins had 2 straight winning seasons, Dave Wannstedt. I mean, wow. That's old school right there. I don't even know if Dave Wannstedt's alive anymore. So I think he's a coach somewhere, isn't he? And then, so think about that. And this guy had a lot of success, and then all the news coming out that he just didn't get along with the front office or the owner. And it's as simple as that. Now, you know what, JT? It might be because he didn't like Tua. That might have had something to do with it. The dipshit from Pro Football Talk, he actually made a good point once in a while. He's like, he didn't tank when they wanted him to tank. Maybe that had something to do with it. Nonetheless, there was some behind-the-scenes friction between the front office and Flores. Not saying that Flores didn't do anything wrong, but I'm always going to give the benefit of the doubt to the coach as opposed to the front office when you're in a dysfunctional franchise. And you can't name me 5 more dysfunctional franchises in the National Football League than the Miami Dolphins. They are a shit show, Uncle T. Shit show.
Well, let's take it a step further, not to get too far down the, down the path here with the Miami coaching stuff, but I'm trying to remember where we all fall on the whole Tua thing in general. I'm not a Tua guy, so I just don't think this guy's very good. And I know some people like him. Some people, if you look at it from a fantasy standpoint, obviously there's been at times that JT and I and G-Rizen have recommended him on a week, but I'm just talking about as a football player, not necessarily from a DFS standpoint. I just don't think this guy's very good. And if they're going to bring in a new coach, bring in, maybe, other guys with him or with the new coach, do you guys think that they're selling that Tua is going to be the man? Or do you think that there's a possibility that not necessarily next year, but do you think in the near future that they could be looking similar to what the Giants are, right? Because I think they've kind of moved on from Daniel Jones, at least from what I've seen, and they're thinking about replacing him with someone in the draft. But I don't know. You guys follow this a little bit more than I do. So what do you guys think about Tua going forward?
I mean, I'm not – go ahead, Holden.
Well, I mean, if Flores got fired and part of it was because Tua, then,
well, that's what I was kind of alluding to.
Then forget it. Then Tua's their guy for the next year. I have not seen anything to make me think the guy's going to be a great quarterback. Can he be serviceable? I guess. If you look at his numbers down the way, he was a little bit more than a game manager. When I think of Tua, I don't think top half of the league quarterback. But then if you go look in the numbers, he's a mediocre quarterback. That's how I see it, JT Hayes. To me, Tua's not a guy worth losing your job over. How about that?
No, except if you believe – well, here's the thing, right? And this is a quote that I heard I think Jalen Rose said this when there was this talk about him getting divorced from Molly Karim. It was something he said on a show, is that people are as loyal as their options, right? And so here's Brian Flores knowing that there's going to be 6, now 8 NFL head coaching vacancies. And he's saddled with a quarterback that he doesn't believe in, that he doesn't think is an NFL quarterback. And he sees an opportunity to, hey, you know what? If I don't go along with the program, they're going to get rid of me. And who cares? Because I'm going to get a job immediately. And then I can have a quarterback and a franchise that I can believe in to win with. So that's a possibility. I'm not saying that that's what happened. But the thing with, you mentioned I think it's very difficult for some of these coaches to get to the point where they can buy into the tank, so to speak. And I think that's what happened. Like with Culley, I think they were one of the surprise stories of the NFL season, as well as they played, even in losses, where all the things that happened to them before the season, Deshaun Watson, the massage therapists, all this stuff, the trades, right? They trade Hopkins, they trade everybody. Everything that's not nailed down in Houston was gone. And here, this guy has them competitive, winning games they shouldn't be winning, and now he's fired. And that, to me, it's more of a surprise than Flores. I can see the Flores point of view of, hey, maybe to your point, he realizes he's got some dysfunction there. These guys are committed to a quarterback that very few people believe long-term is an NFL quarterback, sees a way out. Culley looked like a guy who could be someone for that franchise while they're developing during the rebuild, but maybe they see an opportunity to get some of these head coaches that are out there that they may value more than him.
The last thing I'll say is that now we're talking about Deshaun Watson, right? Like, he was a pariah once all this came down. And the sexual assault allegations, and apparently he's paid off like 40 of these women, and there's 3 or 4 that are left out there that he hasn't. And it's amazing. Maybe it's only this country, where you just forget about things for a little while, right? We didn't see Deshaun Watson for the last 12 weeks of the year. He wasn't even, no pictures or anything. I think we saw him at a basketball or some outing a couple of weeks ago. And now, it's fine. Let's just forget about that because our team can go win football games. That to me is the most hypocritical, frustrating part about a lot of fans and media to that point. That this guy is evil. He's the devil. He's the worst person in the world. And that's probably not the truth. But now here we are less than a year later, and it's okay, and everybody's just going to grab Deshaun Watson. What a fucking joke. What an absolute joke this is. And you know what? As long as he doesn't go to prison, I bet you Deshaun Watson's going to be starting somewhere week 1. I really believe that.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of teams clamoring to sign him. I mean, I haven't read those same reports. There may be.
Dolphins?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, maybe not. If they're committed to Tua, they're not.
Well, they're committed to Tua because they couldn't commit to Deshaun Watson. I mean,
the owner's statement at the time said these things aren't resolved, and I'm not willing to do that because he wasn't sure of where the outcome would be. This is one of those things that is, I think, obviously more complex than meets the eye. As someone who was in law enforcement, it strikes me as interesting that no agency has stepped forward to bring any charges, right? When there's this much smoke, you would have to believe, okay, there has to be something here. So I can't comment on that. I don't know what happened. I know that there's a group of people represented by one attorney who's made allegations, and there's no criminal charges. So I don't know what to believe with that. But before that, the issues were he wasn't going to play for this organization, right? So you go back to that, take out all the, nonsense about these pending issues where I don't know all the facts, and you say, well, that didn't work out too well for him.
Can I give a take that you guys might laugh at me?
Sure, that'd be fun.
I'd love to hear something that would make
right. That's what I figured you would. That's what when I set it up like that, I figured guys would say, yeah, bring it on. I would probably right now. You guys are definitely gonna laugh. I would take right now Davis Mills over Tua.
That's
how bad a take is that?
That's an accurate take.
Not
seriously, really?
Yeah.
No, I saw a couple of this kid's games, Uncle T.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, you know what? Zach Wilson got taken really high in the draft, and the Jets could have taken Davis Mills and had a similar.
He's got some talent. I'm not saying he's ever going to be a Pro Bowl or nothing, but I think he showed some upside more than one occasion this year. So I don't know.
I mean, if you look at it again, we're talking about could he be a league average quarterback? I think the answer is yes. Perhaps down the road, even a little bit above average. Look at what he had. He had no running backs.
Right.
He had almost no running game to speak of, except for that one aberration against the Chargers. Everybody runs like wild against the Chargers. And he had basically one NFL level wide receiver in Cooks. And he's, throwing touchdowns all over. Nico Collins, Danny Amendola had like 150 yards receiving in week 18. I was impressed with what I saw. And he was more usable in DFS than you would think.
I'm just going to throw this out. Here's where he was passing yards this year. So I know it's a very raw stat. Mac Jones, 3,300 plus. Trevor Lawrence, 3,200 plus. Davis Mills, third, 2,200. He threw 12 touchdowns and 9 interceptions on that team. Lawrence had 9 and 14. Mac Jones, 18 and 12. Pretty darn good there. Zach Wilson, 2,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, 11 picks. 12 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, especially with the degree of difficulty in trying to be successful in that organization. I like the way this guy pushed the ball down the field too. I mean, seriously, outside of Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones, possibly Trey Lance, we'll see if he can get going. I think this is the next guy there. I think he has a career in the National Football League going out. He reminds me of like Jimmy Garoppolo once Garoppolo actually got some playing time. I don't think he's going to win you a Super Bowl, but he can get you to a Super Bowl, and you can win a Super Bowl with him. I like the kid. I really do. And I thought Culley and that staff did a good job developing him this year.
Yeah, I mean, they were competitive. And if you look at it, why are the Chargers not in the playoffs? It's not because they called timeout in overtime, because they lost to the goddamn Texans.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing too. You got a Patriot running the Texans now. The Patriots there. If Brian Flores leaves the Dolphins to go to the Texans, a more dysfunctional franchise, I mean, then that's on him at that point. Like, think of how embarrassing the Texans have been. Going back to Bill O'Brien, the ownership, the Culley situation.
Don't make fun of Bob. Don't make fun of Bob.
He's awful. I mean,
he is awful.
He's just an awful owner.
Yeah, he's not very good.
They are an absolute disaster, man. They're right there with the Washington team. They're right there with the Browns. Just some horribly dysfunctional organizations. Good luck, Brian Flores, if you take that job. That's all.
No. This is what I think you see with Flores. Which of the organizations, and I'll go first, which of the organizations that have openings do you think, based on the talent on the field, is as close to being a contender?
It's easy
all
for me.
of them? And I would say you've got Denver, that's maybe a quarterback away, and you have the Vikings, that is really an offensive playbook away. I mean, I think the Vikings open up their playbook a little bit, and it'll be interesting because Rodgers may not be back in Green Bay next year. So all of a sudden the NFC North is there for the taking. So I think you see Flores go, because I think he'll have his pick of which of these jobs he wants. And I think you see him go where the talent is just right there at the cusp of being super competitive.
Well,
before I answer that, Holden,
yeah.
I got some breaking news. Do we have a breaking news sound or anything that we do?
I hear this. I do my own production.
Yeah,
dun, 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 breaking news.
I've just confirmed via text that we may have a special guest joining us for the last part of our Wishbone podcast today. So stay tuned.
Doing?
We could have a special guest, and you guys will really appreciate it. So that might come. But my answer, JT, I think it's the Vikings, and I don't think it's close. I know Denver's got some pieces, and you're right. Maybe they are a quarterback away. Wow, if you can go into Minnesota, though, you've got a stud running back, obviously a stud receiver. You got Thielen sitting there that's still a very, very good second receiver, if you will. Defense isn't that bad. You know what I mean? It just feels like that might be the most win-ready spot for a coach to go to. And again, I may be off on that too, but it's obviously it's the favorite place. But you're right, Denver, though. I mean, other than it being cold as shit out there, right, most of the time, I don't know. I'll go Vikings.
I mean, I that's why I said Denver or the Vikings. I'll say this. This is maybe a hot take. I'd like to see them try and develop Drew Lock. I know it's not going to happen. I know it's wild.
I
know, but he's just.
God, I love you. Oh God, he's bad.
Are you trying to make?
I'd rather watch paint dry off my car.
He's not. He's not good right now. I think there's talent in there. I think there's talent.
You can't fix guys that have problems making decisions. Jameis Winston has a major problem making decisions. G-Rizen has a major problem making decisions.
You're comparing G-Rizen to fucking Winston. Oh my
Correct.
God.
I'm comparing
look at this guy
to Jameis Winston. His shirt says "fuck thee" something. Hello, G-Rizen. Fuck the Rona. Do you have the Rona, buddy?
I do.
Did your balls shrink up or anything like that?
Well, I was trying to jiggle it a couple times and nothing was really working. So yeah, I guess.
That's horrible. How are you? Fuck Rona. Yeah, it's in the back. I'll tell you this much though, G-Rizen. When I got the Rona, I worked every single day. Are you vaccinated?
No, I'm not going to get stuck with that poison because you got it anyway. So what's the difference?
Correct. So how are you feeling?
Well, I started feeling like shit on Sunday. Monday, I was, it basically was the flu for 2.5 days, if you ask me.
Bad flu.
Yeah, I couldn't. I slept with a garbage can next to me, puked in there a few times. It was good times. But you know what? I'm back on the fence, back on the mend. I just smoked a bowl, and I'm feeling good.
I love it, G-Rizen. That is just so beautiful to hear.
Medicinal marijuana helps with the COVID.
You
That's
want to
what
know?
they
Did you
said.
see the study? Did you
That's
see
what
the
they
study?
said. You know what? It's kind of bullshit because I wouldn't have got it to begin with if that was the case. But actually, my girlfriend had it, I think, first, and she wasn't feeling that bad. So, there was one night we decided to drink a little bit, and
At the workbench.
Yeah, we hit the workbench, and I think the workbench got me. But
You had COVID sex?
well, what the hell? We live together.
It's kind of
What's
what I
COVID sex
surmised
like?
at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
that
What's
you had,
COVID
but-
sex like, buddy? How does that work? Is that just like gross? And
It was still good. It was fun. Good time. It's always fun.
What'd you want him to say? It was bad. He
I
didn't
don't
know he
know. I
had it
wanted
at the
to know if there
time.
was something you look good though. I mean, for as far as like if I judge off of you, you look good. You're fine.
I mean, other than I haven't shaved since Monday, I feel
Can't
like
tell.
I haven't eaten shit since Monday. I actually got a
Right.
pizza on the way here, so I'm gonna try to eat. So it's like the only thing that sounds good right now is pizza
Yeah.
for some.
But it's good. You
Have-
got the
have Hoop-
Omicron,
Have Hoop
not a
bring you over
severe
a pizza.
case. You were fine. You felt sick for 2 days. You're going to be fine. You're a healthy individual for the most part.
Yeah, I'm going. I mean, I'll tell you what. After just going through that, I would now I have the natural immunity.
Yeah.
I'd much rather do that than take the chances of what that shot could do to me later in life.
You have, you got like 3 to 6 months now to not have to worry about it.
Right. So it's
That'll
time to
get
go
you
to
through
strip
baseball
bars.
season
Woo-woo!
almost.
You're actually you are out of the Run Pure Sports testing protocols.
Great. You know
Oh,
what?
hey,
great.
go back to
Hey,
that. Yeah,
by the
talk
way-
about it.
By the way, Holden was the guy who teased me when I said
I
all
did.
these players are getting Rona because they don't have to test for 90 days. And he literally laughed at me. And I'm thinking,
Right.
no. Now, how is it that none of them have tested positive here recently? That's kind of funny. And
But you can obviously get it. There's also a lot of these guys that are getting it like all the time. Like Bradley Beal, wasn't he in protocols in like October, November?
Well, me and Uncle T have had it like 4 times combined. You've had it twice, right, Uncle T?
Twice, and I just got over the flu too. So I got the flu shot. I got the vaccines. I got COVID twice. I got the flu. They said the flu shot I got that it wasn't for the right strain. I'm like, imagine that. They say it's always 50-50. They get the right strain.
And
It always
never
seems
take
like
the
it's
flu
a
shot.
100% chance they get the wrong one.
That's what I want to do. I want to take a vaccine or whatever the shot is. But this may work, it may not. We just be
50-50
wasting our
shot.
time.
The flu shot is the biggest waste of time ever because
know.
there are so many, and that's what's going to happen with this one too. Just listen to Dr. Holden. I know it's going to be. It's like 50% chance it works this time, 50% chance it doesn't.
I mean, I'd love
Too
to be
many
work-
people in the world, anyways.
I
I'd love
got
to
the
be
flu
right
shot.
50% of the time.
Yeah,
I got the flu shot once in my life. I've never been so sick.
me
Never
too.
I did the
Never got
same
it.
thing and was sick. I got the flu worse that one year than I ever before. I was it was awful. But
Yeah,
I will say today, though, give kudos to the Supreme Court for knocking that vaccine mandate out of the sky,
Agreed.
because that was some bullshit. And for our president to go on live TV and say that this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated, he's an asshole.
I mean, I got it vaccinated 2 times. So
But why divide everybody? What's the damn difference? You know,
Yeah,
like,
but he was supposed to heal the country, though, I thought.
right.
well, this thing went way south when G-Rizen came on. I mean, this show just got COVID from you, dude. And it's
I mean, hey, it kicked my ass for a couple days. I'm fighting back. That's how you stand up, Holy. You got to fight.
He's ready. He's ready. He's going to march on DC.
good job.
Hey,
G-Rizen.
your Lions finished out the season with a win.
Yeah.
G-Rizen. That's,
Well, that shows you how big of donkeys they are. If they would have lost, they would have had the #1 pick. But you know,
How great is the greatest wide receiver in the NFL? Amon Ra.
man, he's good.
hey, he
He's
got
gonna be
offensive
good.
player of the week, I think, this week or something like that. Or rookie of the week or something. I saw.
He'd get offensive rookie of the year if Jamar Chase didn't decide to catch 500 passes in that game.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase, though. I mean, he had a great season. I'll be interested to see what happens with Cincinnati this week, but I think Cincinnati's got to earn some stripes, so to speak, before they start winning games in the playoffs. I think they're going to have a hard time.
Stay tuned. That might be I think we should give out a lock of the week and an underdog of the week. I think that's how we did it last year. At the end, we all picked a one game we thought was going to, be our lock, and then one maybe an underdog pick.
Ooh,
All right, let's do that.
Thought we did that last year. I'm pretty sure we did.
G-Rizen, while you've been infected with the COVID, have you looked at the slate this weekend?
No, I haven't. But At this point, I generally don't even. I hardly look at it anyway till the end. I mean,
it's like every other week.
Right. It's like every other week. I pretty much look at it on Friday or Saturday. I mean, that's Big T, the same show, and you're playing other stuff. I mean, basketball, whatever else.
Yeah.
You ain't got time for that.
No one's looking at it. No one's.
But hey, listen, if you're engaged, it's like baseball, any of these sports. If you're engaged, do you really? I mean, it's a few weeks in. How much do you really need to study? I mean, you just know. I mean, you pretty much know. You might find some small little nuggets if you really dig, but I mean, for the most part, if you're engaged in it, you understand what's happening.
Basically, all of my prep Monday through Friday just comes from the news, just reading the news and talking to reporters and following stuff like that. And then come Saturday, then you have all the information and you try and sift through it and build your player pool like that. I used to drive myself crazy, guys. I used to have a dummy lineup the second it came out. The next day I'd be switching it up. Like, I think making the process as simple as possible is something else that has helped G-Rizen. Just make it simple. Don't sit there and fight about every decision for 5 straight days. Limit it to one night, maybe 2 nights.
Well, I used to do what you just explained that you would do, like build a team. And then I quit doing that because then once you make the changes and they burn you, it's just mentally defeating. So I just stopped doing that. So I just make my few teams, whatever I'm going to play at the end, and go for it. Because if you keep mixing shit around, you just start second guessing yourself and it's a disaster.
All right, G-Rizen, will you at least pull up the slate and just fake it for us for a couple minutes?
I mean, I can do that.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. Uncle T, you said you're getting into it. You got to run here in a little bit, but that's fine. So we'll start with JT Hayes on this 6-game slate. JT Hayes, and you look at quarterback here. There's some fine physical specimens that are on this slate here, and I wonder if you can give me your top 2 plays on the 6-game slate and whether or not Josh Allen is one of the top 2.
Yeah, Josh Allen is probably not going to be one of the top 2. It's going to be about 5 degrees in Buffalo. Cue up all the tools. Oh, they always play in cold weather in Buffalo. Stats show that his numbers are, fine, but not slate winning when it's 5 degrees. I expect this to be another battle on the ground for the most part between New England and Buffalo. So going to focus on the games that are indoors like we do during the week towards the end of the season. We're going to look at the game in Dallas between the Niners and the Cowboys. And then if you're playing the 6-gamer, look at that Cardinals-Rams game on Monday night. Looks like there's going to be some interesting weather in Tampa Bay also, which we normally think would be nice weather. Looks like there's going to be some rain and wind there on Sunday. Did see an interesting stat about Derek Carr outdoors when the weather is what it's going to be in Cincinnati this week. So interesting there. I think that's a good spot for the ground game. Maybe for Burrow, just because I like Burrow so much. But if I had to pick a top 2, I'd probably stay with Dak and Garoppolo as of right now.
Uncle T, just looking at this slate, is it Dak and Garoppolo? Is it a couple other guys? Who is it?
Yeah, I kind of like where JT was going there. Just real quick, weather on update here in Cincinnati. Initially, early in the week, it was supposed to be 1 to 2 inches of snow on Saturday. They've now moved that to Sunday, 1 to 3 inches of snow here Sunday, but it'll be a high of about 29, maybe 30. So it will be cold here in Cincinnati on Saturday, but there will be no snow. So I like Joe Mixon quite a bit in this matchup. As much as I love Burrow, I think the matchup earlier in the year out in Vegas, Cincinnati really exploited the Raiders defense using Joe Mixon. I think he might have carried upwards of 30 times. I don't have it in front of me. Maybe 30 times in that game. Had a couple touchdowns,
for
maybe 130 yards. Yeah, so I really like Joe Mixon. Holden is probably, I know he's the highest priced at $6,800, but I really like him. And then from a wide receiver standpoint, going back to the game that JT mentioned, and I really like it, is a game that I think is going to go up and down in that Dallas-San Francisco game. I like Deebo Samuel on the Niners side, and I like CeeDee Lamb on the other side. So I think that could be, again, the total now is sitting right at 51. Clearly it is the top total on the board. But I like that, those two guys in that matchup, thinking that that game could go up and down, maybe in the high 30s or high 20s, low 30s for each team in that game.
Hey, G-Rizen, any reason to go to Mahomes or Tom Brady this week?
I like Mahomes. I actually think that game's going to be probably the highest scoring game, that and the Cardinals and Rams game. I think those are the two games I have pegged to probably be the highest scoring game. I just think Pittsburgh's going to say, Big Ben already came out and said we don't have a chance. So I think they're going to play pretty loose football. I know they don't have a chance. I mean, they'd have to score 30-some points.
Pittsburgh team total under.
Yeah, I just think that game could be 36-10, easily. But I just think Kansas City's going to put up their points. But actually, my favorite quarterback this week at this point is Kyler Murray. I just think they're going to take the leash off him. I think he's going to run around a lot more, and he has been. I think people forgot how well that he does maneuver on his feet. I know he's with that ankle. He hasn't been the Kyler Murray of past, but I think this year or this week they're going to take that leash off, and he's going to have to run around, especially with that pass rush and that defense the Rams have.
That's something I was saying on the Pick and Winner shows back on Wednesday. Look at the quarterback rushing props, the guys that run, because no longer are they trying to save themselves for the rest of the season. Now they're going to take contact. Kyler Murray's a guy. He's wonderful at avoiding contact. Problem is when he does get hit, he's injured. And then if he's not 90%, he sucks. He's pedestrian. Josh Allen is a guy I think takes off a lot more this week. We'll see if Mahomes can do the same thing. I know his props are like in the mid-teens. I could see him going over, 20 yards this week. Who are some of the other mobile guys? I mean, we don't have that many mobile guys then, right? We got Allen,
Hurts,
Murray, Hurts, and maybe will Burrow run a little bit. Well, let's talk about Hurts then, JT, because he's got a tough matchup coming up here, but I expect him to be under quite a bit of duress. Why wouldn't we go Hurts even if this team gets blown out? I mean, he could run for 80 yards, run for a touchdown or two, and throw for another.
Well, I mean, nobody runs on Tampa Bay because their run defense has been that good. The question is, does he have receivers? Is he going to be able to get the ball to Devonta Smith or Goddard here? It's an interesting matchup because Brady's down weapons too. I mean, it looks like Leonard Fournette, I think, is going to be back, at least expected to be back here. So that's good for them. Although Philly's defense second half of the year, not that they've played anyone of the caliber of Tampa Bay, but they've been pretty good. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see. Like I said, the weather in that game is supposed to be such that there could be some impacts to the offense there. So I'll keep an eye on that. But Hurts' price is probably as low as he's been in about 6 weeks at 6.1. 6.1 at least on the Sunday slate on DraftKings. So, if he does if he is able to run around, then, I think he could match some of the other guys here.
All right, guys, let's move on to the running back position then. G-Rizen, I'm going to go right back to you. I mean, you're just in a groove right now. So many nice options to choose from. If Leonard Fournette is playing, but he's really, really banged up, can you still trust Fournette to go out there and do what you need? Like, does he have the ceiling to get you where you need to go? So my question to you would be Fournette, and then give me two guys that you're high on.
I mean, I like Fournette. I mean, he's playoff Lenny. How do you not like playoff Lenny? I mean, he's I think they were keeping him out. I think he was probably ready to go even before, these last few weeks, but they knew they had what they had. I think they just let him rest. I think, that's what that offense needs now, losing those two receivers. I think that game's going to be a lot slower than people think because I think Philadelphia is going to try to run the ball quite a bit there. They run out of shotgun, which is really hard to defend. So I think that game's going to be a pretty slow-paced game, actually, because I think Tampa's going to rely on Fournette. I actually think Fournette and Mixon are my favorite two running backs at this point. I think Fournette could be in line for a big game, and I think this is where we get a discount on Fournette because people are going to be afraid of him coming off an injury. We already seen Lenny Fournette break slates in the playoffs how many times in years past here, these last couple years. So to me, I'll take that chance. I'm going to play him. I think he's got upside. So, I think Fournette, for me, is a play that I'll be looking at quite
Uncle
heavily.
T, running back?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, Mixon's one of my top plays on the board, no matter the position. I really like Mixon quite a bit. I don't mind Fournette, like G-Rizen talked about. A couple other guys I'll mention. Devin Singletary hasn't had the best 2 games against New England this year, but he's been on quite a roll. I could see if you didn't want to go the Josh Allen route and wanted to think, Singletary's been pretty good the last couple weeks. Maybe go there at 5.7 on DK. What's more interesting for me is to see how the backfield situation shakes out in Kansas City, right? You got Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams. They're both still listed as questionable, right? They don't really know what's going to happen with either one of them. You guys have any info on what's going to happen with that? Because if they can name one the starter and one is out ahead of anyone else, they're both cheap enough. And I don't think salary will be a huge discussion this week. I think for the most part, we'll be able to get who we want. I don't mind either running back there, depending if they can name a starter against Pittsburgh's defense.
I think Edwards-Helaire is going to play, by the way. He's trending that way. He's out there practicing. What do you got here at running back, JT Hayes?
I think Edwards-Helaire was downgraded from limited to non-participant today.
Today? He had a setback?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think that happened today. So if there are inactives at the running back position, it makes it a little bit easier with Kansas City, although, you never know what Andy Reid is going to do, especially in a playoff game. At running back, you guys haven't mentioned the guy that I think is my favorite guy. It's Damien Harris for the Patriots, 6'4", against the Bills. He has 28 rushes against the Bills this season. Just 214 yards. So, he's done okay. I agree with Uncle T. I like Mixon quite a bit here in this matchup as well. And then I agree with G-Rizen. I think Fournette could be, especially if his ownership stays low, then he'll be just, I think, a lock and load on the Sunday slate at 5.6. And don't forget, of all the things that Kyle Shanahan likes to do, the number one thing he likes to do is run the football. Eli Mitchell at 5.7 on Sunday in that game. And I think if he's in, and there's no question about it, he'll get 25 touches.
Yeah, I love him. Hit his over rushing prop at like 74.5 yards. I'm all in on Eli Mitchell. Just love this guy. And I'll say this, at the same price, Darrell Williams at 5.5. I don't think point per dollar he's going to match what Mitchell is going to do, but you're right. If Edwards-Helaire is out, JT Hayes, Darrell Williams at 5.5, I mean, getting all the work against a Pittsburgh running D that has been as disgusting as any team in the NFL. You're looking at 2 guys that are priced the same that I'd feel very comfortable as my anchors.
Yeah, and that's why I was a little surprised when G-Rizen said that he thought that game was going to be the highest scoring game, because you saw the Kansas City game plan both against Cincinnati. It didn't work as well as it did against Denver, but it was, to take the air out of the ball, keep the ball on the ground, let his offensive line plow through where they have an advantage. He's not going to be concerned, though, about keeping the ball out of Roethlisberger's hands, I don't think. So I think that's one way where you could see Mahomes get there. But this strategy, the last 6-7 weeks of the season, when Kansas City's gotten right, when they've, gotten back to, okay, we're winning most of these games by a comfortable margin, has been because they're doing it on the ground. And they're not asking Mahomes to throw 30 times a game. They're not asking him to run the ball. So it's a good point, especially if Edwards-Helaire is out. And I think that would mean that that's going to be a much slower game. It then becomes maybe a 20-7, 20-10 game as opposed to hitting that over.
Let's move on to the wide receiver position. Uncle T, let's get to you first here. Wide receiver this week. I mean, it's the usual suspects. Like if I told you you're going to have 10 lineups and you got to put Cooper Kupp in a certain amount of them, how much Cooper Kupp are you going to have?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to not have some Cooper Kupp, 9K. The next guy is 8,100 and then 7,400. The one thing I'll say is I would think he would come with some ownership for sure. And I didn't mention it with the running backs, but I wish they would have priced some of these guys up a little bit more. Like I almost wish Mixon would have been in that 75, 76 range, just relative to the slate, to where you'd have to think a little bit differently about jamming him in, since I think he's the best running back on the slate. So looking over at the receivers, though, I mean, you've got Diggs at 7.2 and Hill at 7.1. Like, I don't know why they didn't price some of these guys up a little bit more, to where, again, I think it's a little bit tougher roster construction for most people. But again, to answer your question, Cooper Kupp, if I had 10 lineups, I'd probably either try to go way, way, way over and go 7-8 lineups maybe, or try to somehow just fade him, even though he's in a great matchup against Arizona, and just hope he doesn't, like last week, I think, wasn't he kind of busting last week for a while, and then he cut loose in the second half, or was that the week before? One of the weeks he got there late. But for me, Holden, I like at the top, I'd rather go to Deebo Samuel and CeeDee Lamb, two receivers in that game that I talked about in Dallas that I think could go up and down the field. And then if I wanted to go down a little bit further, a couple receivers in the Arizona Rams game. I don't mind Christian Kirk at 5.3 and then OBJ at 5.1. So those are the four, kind of initially I'm looking at. And I'll let these guys get in, not grab all their guys.
JT Hayes.
Yeah, I like Amari. Amari under 6K at home in a matchup where on the 6-game slate, the Niners over the last 7 weeks of the season giving up the second most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. So I like Amari. Always like him better at home, but under 6K seems like a great price point. You gotta have to decide between the Cincinnati, right, trio there, but Tyler Boyd's price at 4.6 on the Saturday slate seems just sort of silly for a guy who's going to get to work out of the slot a little bit there. So I like that. I like Higgins too. And then Mike Evans, 7K. Evans is going to get 10, 12 targets in that game, assuming that weather is normal. So I like him a bit. And then I don't think a lot of people are going to play Brandon Ayuk, but he's 5.2, and I do think that that game has some opportunity to score some points. Of course, it's the highest total on the board, but I do think that's where some points are going to be scored.
G-Rizen, why don't you finish us up here at wide receiver? Maybe you got somebody that's a little bit off the chalk.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I'll get to the off the chalk guy, but I just was thinking about Cooper Kupp. I looking around at some of these projections. I think Kupp is priced about 1,000 too high. I think he should be like 9,000 on FanDuel. He's 10K. I mean, you look at Tyreek Hill's 8K, Chase's 8.2, Samuel's 8.7. To me, I mean, I always try to get 3 times my, what the salary is. I don't think Kupp's going to score 30 points necessarily. I think that'd be a reach for him to get 30. So I like Lamb, just like Uncle T was saying. I think he'd be one of my favorites. I think another guy too that may not get any, I think he could be a low-owned guy is like a Zay Jones on FanDuel. I think he's fairly cheap. He's only 5.3. I think he's a guy that you might be able to look at too. But really for me, I'm just kind of looking at, I think I'm just in 6-game slates like this in football. We don't see him that often. We never see him, right, except for the playoffs. So I think it's best to just hone in on a couple games and just stack them up and try not to have too many darts thrown. I mean, build your lineups and just focus on, 2 theories you think a game may go, higher scoring games, and just stack them up and go for it. Because if a couple of these games go for duds, I mean, you're sitting with 2 or 3 of the games that, still to go where you can, get some points out of it. So to me, that's what I try. I just try to keep my player pool a little bit more condensed and then go from there. But yeah, I think, Mike Evans, Mike Evans is pretty much the only receiver there. I think he's going to be a guy that is going to get quite a bit of looks. And then one other guy too, I think nobody's talking about is AJ Green. I think AJ Green's another guy you could use in that Arizona and Rams game. So I think that's going to be interesting too. So I think if Arizona gets down, they're going to have to throw the ball quite a bit. And I think AJ Green is their would be a guy that they want to throw to in the red zone. But be interesting for sure. I think this week is there's so many good football games. I mean, we got 2 games that are trilogies. That the rematch. I mean, we got some. I mean, that Buffalo New England game. I think them two hate each other. So it's going to be interesting. I think we got some good games to see.
Yeah, the one guy I'll continue to go back to is probably Antoine Wesley. If I'm trying to get a little bit different, at 3.3 on DraftKings. I mean, he has taken over the DeAndre Hopkins role. He's not DeAndre Hopkins, but ever since Hopkins went out, they said, let's give this kid a chance, and he's gotten peppered a couple of these games.
Forgot to mention one guy, Holden.
Yeah, we gotta mention one guy. I got a guy in mind. We'll see if it's the same as Uncle T.
It's got to be the same guy.
All right, my guy is Antoine Wesley.
You want to see if Holden knows it first?
Let's see.
Holden, do you know who we missed?
Are you talking about a sleeper or like a legit guy?
I mean, just look down there a little bit. Who'd we miss? Under 5K.
Under 5K, who did we miss?
It's got to be the same guy.
Gabe
JT.
Davis.
Shouldn't be Gabe Davis.
We've talked about this guy, like, I don't know
Byron
how much.
Pringle, Ray McLeod. I don't fucking know. Who?
Kendrick Bourne. Your boy Kendrick
Oh,
Bourne.
no, don't.
Was that the same guy, JT?
It's definitely not the same guy that I'm
No,
thinking.
he's
No.
talked about him on the wood like 3 straight weeks.
Yeah, it was the first week was play him, didn't go well. Second week was I'm just going to play him out of spite, really wouldn't have gone well. If we talked about him last week, there was no way we said anything nice about him, okay? Because the only worse call this year than that was Mangone and Hoop being on Robbie Anderson for 9 weeks, okay? You know, at least I fucked up 1.5 weeks. Those guys took half the season to back a guy that looks like an island boy that can't fucking get anything done. All right, well, who is it?
It took me a little while to come off of Robbie Anderson. I kept thinking that he was going to
It
break
took you a while too? Yeah.
Yeah. Finally,
Yeah.
around like week 6 or 7, I was like,
at least you got
I'm done
off.
with this
Yeah,
game.
before week 9. Good job.
That price tag kept luring him in.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's not going to hurt me if he does nothing. He literally did nothing and it hurt you.
It's tempting.
Yeah, who is it?
Hunter Renfrow.
Oh.
Hunter Renfrow. He's got to get 10 targets. I mean, what
Why
he
are
does
you
with
going
us,
there? Uncle T, you don't like that Waller's back in there? How do you
No,
not
you
like
know what
Hunter
the best
Renfrow?
part was on that Monday night game with the Chargers is he got in the box twice and still didn't get there on the winner, and that was the best feeling in the world. Best feeling in the world. Gets in the box twice, but has what, 3 catches for what was it? 4 catches for 13 yards. I mean, it was a tough 13 yards. Let me tell you, though, he worked hard to get them 13 yards, but he did get in the box twice, so that gives him his 16.9 points.
Yeah, it's just he's the most polarizing NFL player at Run Pure Sports is Hunter Renfrow. We got to mention him. So
At least it's him and not freaking Robbie Anderson anymore.
not anymore. Robbie's dead to all of us.
Thank God.
I mean,
All right, we got tight end, guys. Do we want to? Is Darren Waller alive? Like, is he an option at this point? I'd like to say he is. Kittle, Gronk, who again, I'm just not going away from this guy every week. He's just been terrific. Kelsey, even Dawson Knox. I think Zach Ertz is set up for a game where he's going to probably get 6 or 7 catches. I'm not even kidding here. This to me is a nice matchup. There's Goddard. There's Freiermuth. I mean, there are a ton of tight end options this week. Whoever speaks first can take this because tight end is really interesting, guys.
Go ahead, JT.
yeah, I agree. I should have listened to you and played Gronkowski week 18. I went with Kittle, trying to outsmart the field, and unfortunately, I was right. The other part of my head, which was they have just too many guys for him to get there at 6'7", and Gronk. They had nobody, and it's the same situation.
Nobody was on
wide
him.
receiver 1.
I got him at like less than 10%. Like nobody played Gronk.
Yeah. So you got to like him here, co-wide receiver 1. The other guy, which is why it makes, why I say I like Amari, it's hard because all of a sudden the Cowboys have a pretty full complement here. Dalton Schultz caught 2 touchdowns when McCarthy, like a donkey, played as starters the whole game. I mean, the greatest thing in the world is to see them celebrating that win over the Eagles when the Eagles sat everyone. Wouldn't be surprised to see McCarthy exit early. But Dalton Schultz is 5K. Dallas Goedert 4-4 against the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then you already mentioned Knox. Waller got 9 targets. It looked like last week. Believe it or not, he only caught 2 of those balls. But I don't know. I might stay with those warmer weather dome games.
Uncle T, let's do a little tight end, then we'll get G-Rizen and we'll get you guys out of here.
Yeah, at the top. I mean, Kelsey didn't play the last Pittsburgh game a couple weeks back. He's back, obviously, playing. Don't necessarily mind him, but I think that game's going to play a little bit slower. I think Kansas City's going to get up in that game, and like we talked about earlier, I could see that game being a 26-6, 24-6, 24-10, 27-10, something like that. I don't necessarily know that I'll go to Kelsey. The Kittle price tag is interesting at 6K. On the 6-game slate, 6K. He's only got 12 targets and 8 catches over the last 3 games. So he has been, for sure, relatively cold for him. So that's a little, concerning to me. I'm probably going to pay down a little bit. I don't mind CJ Uzomah in the matchup against the Raiders. I do think that game, again, the Bengals, I think, are going to get up on that game and then run. But I do like him at 3.2K. Cameron Braid, if you don't like Gronkowski, you want to go a little cheaper at tight end at Tampa Bay, 2.8K. I don't mind the guys you mentioned earlier, though, either Holden, Goddard, Freiermuth. I think there is a ton of different options. If you wanted to go up, you could. If you wanted to stay in the mid-range, but it depends on what your roster construction is. Like I said, I don't think salary is going to be a huge key this week. I just don't. I think we're going to be able to fit in, for the most part, who we want. So if I'm going up, maybe Kittle. If I'm going down, I'll go all the way down to Uzomah.
G-Rizen, I'm not even interested in your tight end takes, to be honest with you. I'm very disappointed in myself. I wanted to talk about Viagra, given that all of us are in the age range where we've probably all tried it at least once. I tried it my first time at 27. The poor girl had a new hole in her body. So Bart Scott came out and said that he and a whole bunch of other guys took Viagra back in the day to play because it opened up their blood vessels. Now, since we're talking about tight end here, G-Rizen, Dawson Knox came out and said he heard Viagra could make you test positive for PED, so he's not going to try it. My question to you, how many times has G-Rizen used Viagra?
I don't use Viagra. I have Cialis if I ever want to use that. Same damn thing, but Viagra is bad for your heart.
Is it?
Basically. Yeah, it's not as friendly on your heart as Cialis is.
And what is Cialis? You have to take it every day?
No, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, it's only been, I only would take it once in a moon. If I'm going on a trip where I know I'm going to have to get to the bench about 15 times in a weekend, and, you take a little PED to help you out. You got to help yourself out a little bit. There's nothing wrong with it, but
no.
When it's going, man, you could run that thing through a damn wall, the drywall, if you want.
It is a lot of fun. JT, I'm not going to ask Uncle T. I see him over there getting uncomfortable.
I have not used Cialis. I haven't used any of that stuff, for the record. Full disclosure.
That's
now,
amazing.
if I was maybe taking a trip out west to Wyoming, maybe where I'm going to get, me and the lady in the hut, like JT was a couple weeks back, and maybe I needed to get a little extra, maybe I would, but I've never used any of that. There's going to be a time down the road where I may have to, but right now isn't it. Uncle T doesn't have any issues.
I think it's fun. You don't even need issues to use it. It's
right.
It's fun, It's like Barry Bonds. He was already great, but
you got to have confidence in your initial ability, Holden. You don't need any help.
Yeah, but sometimes you just want to really destroy the person you're with and make them very tired. Yes, JT Hayes.
I love Uncle T's response, that curmudgeon, get off my lawn. I'm fine. I'm good. I don't need anything. Right. Hell yeah, they make generic now. And if you want an extended bench session, let's say the Eiffel Tower is in play. Yes. Yes.
Hold on. You're talking a three-way?
I'm talking fun. They make generic. Yeah. All you have to do is do a quick Google search. Boom. Yeah. To your door. You don't even need a prescription.
No.
I'm not one of these. Get off my lawn.
I don't need Cialis.
We might need the Eiffel Tower play of the week.
There you go.
Yeah, who is your Eiffel Tower play of the week? Good job, Uncle T. Who is JT Hayes, Viagra, Cialis?
I don't have it yet. I will tell you, my play Sunday was Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he went off.
Yeah, way to get
about that.
Way to go. Yeah,
but yeah, I don't have it yet.
Uncle T, do you have a I don't have to use that shit play of the week?
Well, Joe Mixon would be too easy. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to go to the Dallas game, and I'm going to go with CD Lamb. I think CD Lamb has a very big game. Albeit, you guys are going to wait for it, in a losing effort. I think the Niners are going to upset the Cowboys. That's my upset of the week.
Agree. I like a money line play right there, too. I should get in on that.
Yes, sir. Everybody else. I think Dallas is they started off the year where no one believed in them. Then I bought in, and then as soon as I bought in, they started losing to like Denver at home and some of these scrub teams at home. I think they're all bark and no bite.
Mr. I use Cialis once in a while play of the week guy. What do you got there?
Since you didn't really ask me, you blew over me for my tight end plays.
Yeah, this was more important.
I actually like George Kittle as my play. Reason being is Dallas gives up the most points to tight ends, and I think that Shanahan is going to want to run the ball. I think they're going to want to dump some balls here to Kittle. I mean, Kittle's such a matchup nightmare. I think he gets in the end zone. I like his anytime touchdown props. I think Kittle is in a pretty good spot. And I think of all the tight ends, he would be my favorite. And I think he has a chance. I think whatever tight end I play is probably going to be matched with my quarterback and probably play a receiver and a tight end. There's so many good tight end options. But for me, I think Kittle's that guy that I'd be looking at.
All right, boys. I don't know if this is the last show of the year. I'm not sure. But if it is, it was wonderful getting
we should
to
go through the Super Bowl.
Are we going to give our winners and our upset special? I gave my upset with the Niners, but these guys didn't give any picks.
All right.
Any interest there, guys?
Holden doesn't like it.
No, it's not that I don't like it. It's just, do you have any interest?
My upset's going to be the Patriots to beat the Bills.
Okay.
And then my for sure winner would be the Rams to beat the Cardinals.
Okay. JT Hayes.
It's interesting because I like that Patriots pick as well. But let's see.
Say the Raiders.
No, I
actually put a lot of thought into this.
I'll give you a few more minutes, JT. You need a few more minutes?
Yeah, go ahead, Uncle T. You have something you want to say?
No, I just want to get – you were struggling. I want to give you another 30 seconds. So I'm going again. I already said I like the Niners outright. I don't think you need the 3 points or whatever it is. You can give them to the next guy. You can tell them we don't need the points. My winner is going to be the Bengals, -5.5 right now. I think the Bengals are a really, really good play this week. I know they haven't won a playoff game since I was alive, but I think this game is like a 27-10, a 30-10 game where it's cold weather here. I think they're going to grind this game out. I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to move the ball against Cincinnati. So 30-10 or so in the Bengals game.
All right, JT Hayes, your well thought out pick. Where you want to give it?
Yeah,
I tried to stall.
What's that?
I tried to stall for you.
Oh, you did a good job of stalling. Actually, you got at least another minute.
Thank you
I'll
very much.
stick with the Pats as the upset. Guaranteed winner is the Rams. I think this Cardinals team is not. I mean, they lost to the Seahawks last week. They lost to the Lions a couple of weeks ago. I think they get smashed on Monday.
Okay, very good. Elijah Mitchell over anything up to 78.5 rushing yards. Patriots plus the points. What's the other one? Oh, and the Niners plus the points. It's dogs, man. It's the playoffs. Don't forget there's some dogs. You don't like that Niners call.
No, and it's bias. It's bias. That's why I'm staying away from that because I can't bear to see Kyle Shanahan.
Okay.
I just can't.
Super Bowl winners, in case we don't come back next week.
If we're all dead, like JT.
I'm doing Holden's job, G-Rizen.
I said 5 years or so.
Figured it out.
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years?
5 years or so before
plenty of time.
Things get really crazy.
Yeah, I think you're
It's
just
fine. You don't have to believe me.
you're so negative.
I mean, not all the time. About that, I am. I'm very concerned.
Again, give it 20 years and start learning Cantonese or Mandarin, and you'll be fine.
Have fun while you can.
That's what I
live
say.
every day like it's your last, Holden. Just keep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a nap after this before the NFL show, so I'm just gonna keep doing what I do.
Mess up your hair when you take a nap.
Well, that's fine. Are we going to be back? Well, if we're back next week, we don't have to do any other picks. So we'll be back next week, apparently. I'm fine with that. And you should be too. Good job beating the Rona, G-Rizen. You can now walk around safely without getting it again for the next few months. So happy for you. Uncle T, good luck with the PRP. And JT Hayes, go fuck yourself. So for everybody else, wonderful to see you. I'm Holden. Bye-bye. Simon, get us out of here.
What is going on, guys? I'm here to update you on all of the things that are happening within Run Pure Sports this week. NFL regular season is over, but not without bringing in another 100K winner. Big congrats to Get Freaky, who took down 106K on the crazy Sunday night Showdown slate, and yet another shout out to BigT with another 74K hit in NBA. Make sure you guys keep an eye out for all of our upcoming NFL playoff content. We'll have our usual playbook, core plays, and showdown content, in addition to a playoff print factory and 2 wood shows that will cover Saturday and Sunday slates. We are also running it back with a new underdog promo in time to enter their great playoff best ball contest. Just use the promo code RUNPURE and you will get up to a $100 deposit match on your first deposit. No better time to sign up. We will also have another Underdog Playoff show this week to review drafting strategy. That is all we got for this week. It has been a great NFL season and things are just heating up as we head into the playoffs. Thank you for checking us out and of course, keep running pure with us.